Jeg sa innledningsvis at dette med innsyn ende til ende superviktig for å kunne finne og pinpointe utfordringer og problemer i infrastrukturen vår, og ikke minst fikse problemet. ControlUp har et veldig godt og kraftig verktøy for monitorering, feilsøking, feilretting og automatisering, og jeg snakket litt med en annen god venn, Tritsch, om dette. And then I will say welcome to my very old good friend, not very old, but very good friend, Bernhard Tritsch, or Benny. Benny.
Only my mom calls me Bernhard.
Yeah, but Benny among friends. So very welcome to you, Benny. And now this has brought you to ControlUp. So can you briefly tell us a little bit about your role?
Yeah. I had conversations with some of the leading ControlUp people over many years, long before I joined ControlUp, because they were always part of the E2EVC conference, formerly known as Pub Forum. So they were sponsors and always had a good time hanging out with the guys, and they always walked us through everything that they were working on. And in the end, Joni from ControlUp, he asked me, he's one of the founders, he asked me if I want to join. And yes, I have a part-time engagement with ControlUp since mid-2019. And in my role as a technical evangelist, I represent the techie side of the sales team, primarily in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But more and more, it's growing into a European role. What I really enjoy is the variety in my job. It includes technical marketing, pretty much what I do now, pre-sales, channel management, and I'm working with product management. Well, I'm there. Eyes and ears, listening to what customers want in the field. And when doing ControlUp proof of concept installations, I have the opportunity to see many different production environments in action, which I personally find very exciting and very inspiring. It's like they're paying me for doing a market research. It's very interesting for me, and it influences the other work that I'm doing immensely.
And for I don't think a lot of our listeners actually know what ControlUp is and what they do. Can you briefly explain what ControlUp actually is?
Sure. ControlUp is a spin-off of a Citrix consulting company. So the founders, they are consultants originally. Today they're not anymore, but they had developed at the time an agent that allowed them to collect telemetry data and event logs in Citrix environments and feed the data into a central real-time monitoring console. And right from the beginning, they wanted to have a high refresh rate. Today, it's 3 seconds, which makes it real-time. So it's not something where you have to wait for a minute or two until you see the average value of telemetry data. No, you see the real data as soon as it's happening, well, just with a 3-second delay, which is good enough for most cases. And right from the beginning, the design goal was to improve the employee experience or end user experience. The product scope was extended by adding Citrix Cloud, VMware Horizon, Windows Virtual Desktop, so becoming independent, more or less, of Citrix virtual apps and desktops alone. So covering the entire spectrum of the EOC market. And over time, components for interactive troubleshooting, remediation, historical data analytics, and proactive monitoring were added. The functionality that still impresses me most is the built-in combination of custom triggers with PowerShell scripts, allowing the automation of repetitive administrative actions. If you combine that with the high-speed real-time console, well, this was the reason why I joined ControlUp. When they introduced this script-based actions or automated action feature, I thought, now it's time for me to jump on the bandwagon and be part of that, because this is going to be a winner in the market.
Very interesting. So what you're saying is that ControlUp is a monitoring, troubleshooting, and remediation tool for server-based computing infrastructure per se.
Yes.
But an important part of end-user computing is, like we talked about before, also getting insights into your physical devices like PC, Mac, Linux, and things like that. Are there any plans inside ControlUp to address these devices as well?
Yes, I totally agree. Insights into the physical endpoint is a key factor these days, in particular in work from home use cases. I mean, this is something that we see so often now. And yes, only very recently, ControlUp has announced the availability of two brand new components called Remote DX and Edge DX. And guess what? One of them, Edge DX, was developed by two former Absence colleagues. And ControlUp decided to acquire their little company, their little startup, about half a year ago. And only recently the integration was finalized. And yeah, now it's out there in the market. So the other tool, Remote DX, that's the other tool that focuses on the endpoint, shows the health of the remote client device in the context of the EUC session. So basically, it's using the virtual channel in the remoting protocol to look at what's going on the client side. But this has only limited capabilities. And if you want to have the full view of the endpoint, you rather want to use Edge DX, the product that ControlUp acquired. And it allows you to monitor Windows, Mac, Linux, and IGIL-based physical endpoints in real time. And if you combine that with the other ControlUp components, you have an end-to-end view of the employee experience. And that's exactly what customers always ask me in the field, what they want to have. So that means that ControlUp is not a monitoring one-trick pony anymore. Now it goes beyond that. It offers a full suite with several components. So it's interesting, like I said, to be part of that and seeing it grow from that one-trick pony to a more strategic product that more and more customers and large customers are using this story. Because there's one important lesson that I've learned from my EUC benchmarking projects. Employee experience is a key factor. And unfortunately, there's not a simple, an easy or simple score for that. But there are factors that even non-technical users can judge. And this is the logon time, the application load time. Is the screen flickering? Does the screen output show artifacts and dropouts? Are there user input delays? Are there unsupported media and graphics formats? For example, when the application just shows an error message instead of showing up properly. And finally, how good is the session availability? And ControlUp can show some of these factors directly, such as logon time and user input delay. But all the other factors, ControlUp acts like a powerful microscope that was designed for biologists. And when I do my my benchmarking projects, I am like a researcher again, doing those experiments, and I need tools for that. I build synthetic user workloads. This is what I do, what I program. And I'm using all kinds of tools to watch what's happening in systems, like screen recordings and collecting telemetry data. And ControlUp is one of those tools that I'm using within my benchmarking projects. And it allows IT admins to view and analyze telemetry data sets that are associated with the perceived user experience factors that I just mentioned. And the best thing is that an admin can use the built-in remote system management features and apply script actions to optimize the user experience. So in a nutshell, the admins are not walking in the dark anymore if they are using tools and products like ControlUp to see what's going on in their environments. And like I said, in work from home scenario, this is an essential piece of the work aspect of each IT admin's work these days.
Exactly. So now what you're saying, I have now full insights in the whole chain from what's happening on my home office, even my wireless network at home, through the ISP, back to the office or to the cloud. I have the entire value chain monitored, and that can help me have insight into
I totally agree. And
this is very exciting to hear. So if the audience want to know more about this, we can sure help them at a later point, both me and you, and
oh yeah, absolutely,
in Move. So shortly, the time is flying here. So shortly, to wrap up this short conversation, do you have any specific advice for all the end user computing administrators out there going forward?
Yes, sure. There are two advices. Short term, there's just 3 words: test, observe, and optimize. I mean, what I mean here is you should create a handful of test user accounts in your production environment and run short synthetic test cases that simulate problematic user behavior. If you can sort of learn what the patterns look like in your telemetry data, if you're doing that, you understand a lot better what your users are experiencing. That is one thing that I would do short term. Mid to long term, get prepared for the cloud if you're not already doing it. If not, well, just do the first consolidation of your on-prem EUC environment in such a way that you can start migrating selected aspects of your functionality, of the features, to the cloud. And this is what I want to recommend to server-based computing or EUC admins to do. Like this testing, try to learn what your users are experiencing by simulating things in a not aggressive way, but just to see what's happening in your production environment if you have that simulated user actions. And the other thing, get ready for the cloud.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Benny, for those very good conversations, and thank you for the good tips here. So
thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Nok en gang, tusen takk for praten, Benny. Alltid veldig trivelig å prate med deg, og håper alle synes det var en interessant samtale. Da går det mot slutten av denne sesjonen, og jeg vil få lov å si tusen hjertelig takk til Simon, til Dag, til Sean og til Benny, og ikke minst vår egen Kjetil Skårdal. Vi har snakket litt om hvordan vi kan gjenbruke og forlenge levetiden på gamle maskiner, og gjøre det om til en sikker klient for tilkobling til kontoret, og en klient som krever null administrasjon fra IT-avdelingen. Vi har også hørt om hvordan autopilot og Intune kan dramatisk forenkle onboarding av nye klienter, uten å måtte innom IT-avdelingen først. Og vi har hørt en del sikkerhetstips fra Microsoft, i tillegg til hvordan vi kan publisere gamle legacy Windows-applikasjoner via Windows Virtual Desktop. Vi har også hørt om hvordan VMware tenker å tilby en helt ny plattform for håndtering av alle mobile brukere via Anywhere Workspace. Og helt til slutt, litt om hvordan man kan få samtids innsyn i hva som skjer i hele leveransekjeden fra datasenter eller sky og helt ut på endepunktet. Dette ble bare en liten skrap i overflaten på løsninger som kan hjelpe til med å skaffe dere digital kontroll. Så hvis du ønsker å høre mer om noe av dette, så ta kontakt med undertegnede eller din eminente kundekontakt i Move. Tusen hjertelig takk for meg, og lykke til videre i arrangementet.